Hello, hello. Hey, Galaxy Inferno. I don't know if you saw, I gave you a point for the bug report you did. So now you're ranked number 14, climbing on up in the world. This afternoon, we are just going to be tackling the to-do list, and I want to get this thing under control a little bit at least. So here's what I like to do for these things. I like to look at the word count, actually specifically the character count, because that changes every single time you delete any character. So we're going to say that it is now, we are starting with this many characters in the challenge mode doc. And then let's see what we are at the end of the stream. I mean, in the next like 10 minutes, I'm probably going to get down to like 65,000 because I'm just going to clear out all this stuff that's already done. Well, I mean, in this tab at least. So yeah, I think these things have been pretty much finished. Let's take a look. Yeah, well, thank you for trying this out, for reporting issues. I do end up hoping, I hope that all the different systems in the game feel pretty good. Like I'm pretty happy with how challenge mode has gone. I know it's called bone mode now. I just still feel silly saying that. All right, what's this? Give you a minimum 5 items based on your warehouse size. I don't think we need to do this. Not obvious at all which perks you're going to get as part of given challenges. Picking meta perks is not great. Yeah, we revamped this completely. This is also another thing I expect to have happen quite a lot this afternoon. In the old world, we had meta perks and we had like 22 of them. And some of them were things like start with perk X or start with perk Y. But then you would go pick a challenge like farming, the farming scenario. And this would include perks like A, B, and X. So like you have no reason to get the meta perk if you're going to be playing the farming scenario, but there was no way of knowing that. So yeah, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Is there a bug with granting battle perks via meta perks in adventuring mode? Like does the mode try to grant them first? I think we looked into this. Yes, that's all done. Right here. We only need one battle party. I think we're giving too much loot. This is very difficult to get working. But this is a pretty interesting point. We really don't need multiple battle parties. Also, if you're only going to play for 20 minutes, getting 2 battle parties to be up to like max level is not great. Maybe we should make a scenario that plays on that. Hey, Chef Alton. Man versus TODO. Now, I'll write this down here somewhere. There isn't ever really a need for 2 full battle parties. I wonder if we should have a scenario where you don't find a ton of loot. So you have to have multiple parties just to keep your town stocked. It could go for 30 to 40 minutes as opposed to the usual 20 minutes. All right, so I'm just gonna write this here for now. Farming challenge is way too easy, whatever. Add customers don't tip to popularity challenge. Could remove QMM from industry mode. Yeah, these are difficulty changes we can do later. I still want to keep these on the list. A lot of what we're gonna do today is just moving some of this stuff around. Let me open this up. Might as well get this thing off the list. In fact, I'm just gonna delete it. We don't need to archive half of these things. Yeah. Now that we're starting the player with tons of perks, we need to make the beginning of the run slightly slower. Feels like money's too easy to obtain. I don't think it's necessary. In fact, I think we can put X on that. Did a farming run where I ended with 33 town perks. Beating location so quickly, I had tons and tons of loot. Feel like there should be slightly more thought that goes into where to fight. Maybe battle perks are too strong. It's just that I was on farming mode. Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything with this either yet. First couple of challenges, probably have cheaper adventurers. We changed this too. Probably say level 0 and 1 have a bunch of special hidden parameters. Not going to do that. Should we make keys increase in cost? We revamped everything already. I don't think we need to do that. Run through the game, see if everything feels good. We had done that. And then the work for later, presumably, this we don't necessarily need to do. Get icons for the new perks. Introduce twists as bundles. I don't think we're going to do this. Add another spell for potions. We did that already. What else? What else? What else? Perk magical farming. Should augment the spell that I haven't added yet, which creates potions. Like have enchanter spells, crops grow faster. Yeah, I think this is all good. And then shop specific item stacking. So all these ideas we can move down to the bottom. So now this is done. I'll just type ZZZ here so we can find this again in the future. And I'll put the perk ideas like that. Go back to our ZZZ area. Probably have minus and plus buttons for individual meta perks. Yep, this is still pretty important to do. So let's put this down here. Yeah. All right, twists are saving like this. We don't have twists anymore, so it doesn't matter. Should probably be able to hover over this to see the challenge parameters. Yeah, this can be a polished thing down toward the bottom of this list. Okay. Clean up, manifest icons, delete any constraints, delete all the negative twists, convert them into challenges. I never use these. Yeah, we did this though, and we, I guess, did that. And we don't have any to-do items in the code anymore? No. Okay, so all that stuff is done. Next, we're gonna need to look through meta progression. This stuff all belongs in cleanup. Balancing. Okay, so we can remove this whole thing from the list. Goodbye. All right, so what's this? Meta progression. We had started this a while ago. It's already in the game. I don't know what's on this list. Need to figure out what challenge mode is. Man, it is nice looking back on some of this stuff. I still remember, this wasn't even that long ago. This is what, 3 weeks ago or something? Probably along those lines where, yeah, I just thought the identity of this mode is confusing. It's not really a challenge. People are getting the wrong impression. I think it's been mostly figured out. By the way, I reached out to, I think, 4 people over my lunch break. 2 are YouTubers already, and then 2 are from the stream. And I guess there's technically like 1 more person who expressed interest, but I need to know if they've played the demo. Never heard of her. Hey, Codex. Yeah. And part of me wonders if having those challenges was important. But I think what I'm going to do is make it so that scenarios greater than 10 are difficult, you know, quote unquote. They're not really hard. They just have some constraints around them. But by that point, you'll have gotten so many meta perks that I don't think it really matters too much. Yeah. So anyway, this is done. It's not really a challenge. Why would people play it? What are they looking for? How do we enhance the fun for them? Mode feels pretty similar to Animal Crossing or something where you can't lose, but there's still progression. How do meta perks fit in? Another issue is that some are pointless. Yeah, we've addressed all this stuff, I think. Need to pivot the branding. We did that. I noticed as I was playing that I would finish a run and then want to keep playing. Reminded me pretty heavily of Kirby Air Ride, where the match only lasts 7 minutes, but toward the end, you had enough stats. Wonder if we could purposely lower the time so that when you win, you're right at the cusp of tons of power. I think this is already what happens. I think this is just an idle observation that's kind of interesting. Pretzel versus first. Hey, Pretzel. Zadlati suggested a meta perk for having treasure get sent to the guild. We already did this. Automatically open chests. Could just have this happen every so often. Meta perks, items last on the ground for longer. Start with 25 or 50 more gold. Could make so quests give double the workers. Farm has a chance to reroll the crop. I mean, this is kind of interesting as an unlocked perk. I should write it down. This could just be an innate unlocked perk so that the farm scales even when you, yeah, without having to get tons and tons of perks for it. Plus, if it's just a straight up bonus, doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, I'm going to just X out of these. What's this? We need more perks. The ones that change the rules can really change the runs. Plus are fun. I like seeing plus 3 battle perks. I like seeing free treasure chests or workers buying items. Those are the things that change the rules of the game. Yep. I still agree with this, but I'm not going to do anything right now. I know that there's some content we should be adding. 15 minutes before the morning stream usually starts. Redeem first early, but then after 10 minutes, I decided to go read the content announcements. Yeah, I announced that yesterday on stream that, hey, I'll be starting late tomorrow. I had an appointment this morning. I didn't know how long it would last or, yeah, when I could exactly advertise the start of the stream. Plus, the other thing I've kind of learned after being a streamer for a long enough time is there's no way to get the news out to everybody. There's just no way. You can post it on Discord. You can say it in the stream. You can put it in the stream title for next time. There's always going to be someone who's like, I didn't see any of those. So at some point, I just kind of give up and say, yeah, it's good enough. People will realize when they aren't watching a stream at the moment. All right, I think there should be something that gives you a random town perk, maybe beating a boss or finishing a quest. We kind of already did this. Probably need to nerf auto fishing so the starting time is slower, maybe 45 or 55 seconds. I think the last area that doesn't feel great. So we have 6 buildings: garbage, slime, warehouse, enchanter, treasure room, farm, and pond. I think these to me all feel great. The garbage slime I never really felt like there was a problem with. So I mean, I guess it also feels pretty good, maybe. Yeah. The farm's also, I'd say, pretty good. I think the pond is like kind of there, but not totally. And I think auto fishing helped a lot. And so did marine mana. But I think there are more things we can do to make it better. And I'm just not sure what those would be. It's definitely not, it's not bad right now. There is still a decision to be made. The other thing I kind of think about is that with 6 systems, you can't really count the warehouse, I guess. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I guess you'd count all of these. Maybe not the enchanter. But yeah, with these 4 in particular, these take a lot of your attention in the game. So to manage anything extra would probably be quite the challenge. Now, something that's interesting is anything that takes your attention can kind of just take worker or adventurer attention. So it kind of just becomes a scaling issue, I guess. Pretty much never read the channel unless there's a variation in streams like now. Yeah, yeah. Also, that's pretty natural, right? Like a website goes down, so then you find out, oh, it's patch day or something. Yeah, I'm just going to remind us here for this. Power leveling should produce a notification saying something. Yeah, this is a nice little polish thing. Let's put this back up here so I can slot this away. Should add a perk similar to gathering multiple crops, but for chest items and storage. Okay, we don't need this now because we have the flying guild supplies. Most runs would benefit from having more workers. Think the meta perk to grant it would be great. We don't need this anymore because we added a meta perk for more workers, and it's better than what we have as an idea here. Still hard to steer toward a particular build. If I don't want certain farm or fish perks, I should probably be able to ban them. I'm gonna X this out for now. This was back when buildings cost a lot. Now they don't necessarily cost a lot, and you might start the run with many of them. So the odds of you getting a perk that doesn't help you at all is very low. Now it might not help you a lot. So for example, if your farm is 2x2 and you get like better crops, then you're going from getting 8 sludge to getting 12 sludge. Yeah, that's a 50% upgrade, but they're such small numbers that it doesn't really matter even if it's a 100% upgrade. It's just not a lot toward the end of the game. So yeah, some perks aren't going to be great, but they're still going to help you. A lot of roguelike games with options or with hold options, you feel, yeah, we did this. Yep. I think it's a good idea too. I think I want the warehouse to be able to have item stacking. Maybe it only shows one's been maxed out. Maybe only the warehouse can have item stacking. I don't want workers to be able to move this. I'll put this in perk ideas. Impulse buying doesn't satisfy customer desires. Yeah, this is like a cleanup thing I think we have to do. And for industry mode, it's a big problem and all the skeletons go to a single crop. Yeah, both of these are cleanup things we should probably do. Change rep earn per metal, so there's no reason to have exist anymore. This is all done. All right, so this is where we left off. We'll put this back into cleanup. These are kind of just polished things, actually. Maybe I should put them into here. All right, what else? We may want a tree for meta perks just so you don't have a million to look through. I'm not doing that. Maybe make the new dialogue into a tab container with new run and perks. Make navigating easier. Yeah, it's a nice polished thing. Man, any of these items is going to take like 10, 15 minutes to do, and I've got tens, if not hundreds of them. So dropping the item is actually the best thing we can do in terms of the timeline for the game. Ask whether we should revamp how costs work altogether. I don't think we're going to do this either. Yeah. Post launching the playtest, add cheats for challenge mode. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this stuff either. Just gonna cross this out. Show medals that you've earned when selecting difficulty. That one's really important. That one we need to do at some point. I don't know where. But the medals currently don't mean anything. Hey, I'll go Dev. How goes your Friday? We are organizing my to-do list. And it is as boring as it sounds. Oh, man. Oh, we got done with all of these things. That's pretty nice. Arbitrary to-do items. I'm just going to write that. I'm doing pretty well. I launched another version earlier today of Skeleseller, and I think we are in pretty good shape for the game, or at least this bone mode that I've been working on for a while. The problem is I made this document for it, and it's got 28 pages of stuff. And a lot of it still matters, but not all of it. Honestly, even if I got this down to, let's say, 5 pages of to-do items, I think we'd still be looking at like 2 to 3 weeks of work. And I don't want to justify, I don't want to put in that amount of time right now to this. I want to get other things looking pretty good. I'd love to figure out a launch date for the game. Like, I could probably tentatively say something like March 17th, let's say. But that gives us not very long. And yeah, I don't know how the game's going to be received. At some point, we're eventually going to have all of the content. And then I need to show the game to just like random new people to see what they think. Like, imagine you got this Steam game. Would you have been happy with it? How long would you play it for? What's fun or exciting? What would you fix? Those are the kinds of things I need to think about. But we've got to be like a machine when it comes to these to-do items. Got to be very rigorous about only tackling the ones that are the most important. Is that something you would stream? That'd be cool to see. The random people playing the game. I would like for them to make videos potentially, but I don't think I'd be able to. Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to set that up. So first of all, finding those people may be a bit tough. Like, there's already currently kind of a funnel of people going through Steam to get the demo. And then some people are interested in the playtest, so then they talk to me. But at some point, what I want to do is I just want to send someone like, I don't know, like Skeleseller pre-launch.exe. And it's got more than the demo. It's got all of bone mode in there. And someone just plays this like it's a regular game. I don't need to give them instructions or anything. I think there are people out there who are probably willing to help. And I know some places I could potentially find them. But not a lot of those people also want to like stream a video of them doing it. So maybe I just need to reach out to influencers and say, hey, I've got this game. I'm looking for people to give feedback. I could basically send you like a pre-launch version of it and you just play however much you want. Please run this as an admin. It's called sharecrypto.exe. Yeah, just elevate, run, and then don't look at any of your accounts anymore. IABC. They screen shared with you over Discord or something. Yeah, well, that's the other problem is that the demo right now is about 2 hours. If I were to give them this pre-launch version, I would expect them to probably play for like 4 to 6 hours. And I don't want to sit there for every single like session that someone's doing. The nice thing about them recording videos, especially on YouTube now lets you go up to 4x speed. And for a lot of what people do in Skeleseller, if I've already seen it enough times, and I've seen the demo way more than enough times at this point, like 4x speed is actually pretty followable in terms of like, okay, what are they focused on? Are they struggling? But that's also why, yeah, not the whole thing, but that's also why I'm kind of talking about like, I don't think I'd stream this myself, nor do I think the person would probably be okay with me streaming it. In fact, most people, when I ask for playtesting help, I say something like, hey, if you could record audio, it would be really nice. And like, if you're not comfortable and they don't need to share why they aren't, then just do a write-up. And a lot of people say, yeah, I'd like to just do a write-up. Some people just never even get back to me, by the way. They might play the game and then they just don't say whether it was fun or not. And it's like, okay, I guess. I get that that's bound to happen, but it's a bit of a shame when it does. Because even if they just say like, it wasn't for me, it's like, that's something I could benefit from. I should know this stuff. All right, so back to this. Clean up the world map, make pipes from the weapon grinder. Yeah, so we have a lot of to-do items that probably still matter. I think at this point what I'm going to do is just look over the list and see which ones are still relevant. Maybe we get to prioritization. Yeah, so check this out. We took hardly any time just to archive these things, and now we're down to 47,000 characters. So this divided by 70 or whatever, we got rid of a third of the to-do list already. Yeah, why wasn't it for you? What do you usually like? Yeah. Yeah, I had someone try the game, and it turned out they really didn't like roguelike games. They were just like, they mentioned that it's like gambling. And you can hold that opinion, that's totally fine. But if they never shared that with me, I wouldn't know why they didn't like Skeleseller, or at least not challenge mode. The regular mode doesn't have the problem. So yeah, you can dislike something for whatever reason you want, but if you're going to do a playtest, you should probably let the developer know that reason. Gambling is all the rage right now, it seems. I don't think gambling has ever not been the rage. There's just too much money in it for people that have not wanted to facilitate it. Like obviously literal casinos have always been a thing, but even when it comes to gambling games, I guess any sort of gotcha games where whales can fund it, I guess those kind of fit into it a little bit. But also just kind of more literal gambling games. I don't know. They're like virtual slot games and stuff like that, slot machine games. And then there are gambling tangential games like Balatro. It's still cards. There's still a lot of randomness. There's no chance of winning money or anything. It's a one-time purchase. I'm not saying this is an insidious game or anything like that, but it's like adjacent to gambling. All right, let's see. Add treasure room for this. Some perks for this stuff. I don't know if we need any of this stuff. Like, I guess it'd be kind of interesting if every time you cast a spell, you could get these Omni Orbs or something. Or maybe casting Loot Magnet would do it every once in a while. Actually, that would be kind of neat. I like the idea of leveling up perks, so I don't know exactly how you do this. But there could be... Oh, where did that just go? Perk ideas. What is going on? This is like the hardest thing to navigate. I want to find it in the to-do list. Here we go. Yeah, so could be a cool unlocked perk to what is it called? Instant loot has a 10% chance to generate an Omni Orb. I think that'd be neat. It's gonna rarely happen, but it'll make your runs feel a little bit better. Or anything else? Finding a treasure chest from battle. I kind of like the idea. I think in practice it's probably not fun. Yeah, I'm going to just delete it. Regarding armor collecting, we could make something like a special item stand, and whatever's on that stand will be auto-sold every X seconds from your shop. Could have a chance to affect the warehouse too. Like, what are the odds I do this? Probably very low. So I think I'm just going to X this out. Yeah. And we'll just move this here for now. Some difficulty change stuff. Sure. I want to show which scenario you're on. Write in the objective details. Even if it's just bone mode number 1. And hovering over that. Yeah, I still want to do this. I think it's fine. More perks. Need to introduce synergies, etc. Cool perk to have. Employee discount for X seconds. Add upgrades to perks as unlockables. Yeah, sure. Figure out if we want to do 10 more scenarios. Yeah. There's so much work. Why is there so much work? Show the scenario name in the objective details somewhere. Yeah. In that tooltip. All right. There isn't ever really a need for 2 full battle parties. Could be a difficulty thing. Yeah, I guess let's put this down here too. The last 10% is 90% of the work. Yeah. I feel like we need to amend that. It's like first you do the first 90% of the work, then the next 90% of the work, then the next 90% of the work. I feel like it used to only be 2 90%. Now I think it's 3 90%. That's how I feel. Completing one game is 270% work. Yeah, that stuff's all good. That's good. Make it clear that you've unlocked new perks. What is it? Oh, yeah. Make it clear when you finish a run that you've unlocked new perks. I don't think people are aware that the pool is increasing. Was tracking highest medal earned for each mode on this list already? Yes, it is, yeah. And showing that information somewhere. There's 6 perks that can show in the game that I never added icons for. By the way, this today, right now, is just going to be about moving items around or deleting items. At some point, we got to go through all these and just be like, all right, boring task number 1, boring task number 2, boring task number 3. Well, that's not today. Maybe we should use the up and down chevrons. Yeah, sure. This could be done in the increased difficulty thing. That goes here. I like it. Looks good, looks good. Okay, processing for the metric server. I'm not even going to do this. Yeah, I'm just going to X this out, put it at the top. In fact, if we're going to do that, then I guess we should put ZZZ there so I can get back to it. Convert constraints into abilities. That way we can use them as negative trade-offs. We're not doing this. We're definitely not doing this. What else do we have here? Design is what makes sense. Constraints are accessed completely statically. Abilities are through the town. Originally wanted to do this, we'd have less loot drop from battles, not sold as consolidated systems. Yeah. I'm curious to see how many of these things are going to be like, oh, thank goodness we figured out a solution for that. There are a lot of things that I've learned over the course of doing this. And one of them when it comes to game design is calibrating my gut. There are things that felt wrong that I was just hoping wouldn't be wrong and that I wouldn't have to fix them. Universally, I've had to fix them. And one of the more recent cases of this was when it came to keys in the treasure room. I was talking about you eventually get to a point in the game where you're just getting too many of them and then managing them is annoying. And it's like, I was playing the game and I came to these conclusions, but I just kept thinking, but what if it's just fine? It wasn't just fine. We fixed it now. But how many other items will I come across on this list where I'm like, oh man, that was a really tough problem. And thankfully we solved it. Are you saying one of the next streams will be boring? I'm saying many of the next streams will be boring. Probably starting on Monday. So brace yourselves for a bunch of boring streams. I want metrics, but also I'm not going to schedule the work. Well, we have the metrics. It was more about what is it to process those metrics. Thankfully, the collection of metrics added maybe like 3 hours or something. So not a crazy amount of time. And yeah, at some point I should probably process it. But the most important metric, which is not an automatically collectible one, is did you have fun? And this, I would say, has been rising, as you well know, in the last few weeks. And without this being a yes, none of the other metrics matter. So I think we're in better shape now to probably start looking at those metrics and do any fine tuning if we wanted to. But even then, I would say if people are having fun, I could pretty much just launch the game. Is this the first one of Skeleseller? I'm not sure. I think I've done another one. I hate Dead Robot Dev. It'd be hard to tell without looking through the massive list of VODs, and it's just frustrating to look through that list because of how much you have to keep scrolling down. Where is it? Skeleseller VODs, yeah, here. So we could, I think if I just hold the end key on my keyboard, we could, oh wait, that was it? They're only 400 something? Why does that seem wrong? Huh. Yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, so we can just search for TODO now. Yeah, I think it was the first one. I have like 1,000,000 Botland VODs, right? How many are there for that? And granted, it was like 2.5 times as many days, but I did not do 2 streams per day. Yeah, how many videos are in this playlist? 400, 500, 600, 700, 836. Man, I wonder what that stream was. The future of the stream in Botland is 2 hours, probably of just me talking the whole time. What happened? Yeah, there we go. Am I coding anything for this? I'm looking at code. Oh, that's what my old homepage look like. Wow. Wow. Crazy. I believe there were 2 of them for Botland, specifically called Man versus Do or something similar. I just closed the tab. I think there were more than 2 for Botland. But yeah, I'm not going to go open that again. Either way, it's never like this kind of stream did well. The whole point was that I was just trying to get through my to-do list. Clean up the world map, add the treasure room to the QMM. I already looked through this stuff. Where's the... Oh, there it is. All right, yeah, so this is one of the things I'm interested in looking at. Ease people into challenge mode from Flashburn on September 2nd. So it's been a month and 8 days. A thought on perks. It'd be nice if your choices were limited to only buildings you currently own. Feels kind of terrible getting choices for ones not built, especially early on. Maybe the highest difficulty. So yeah, this is less of an issue now. We now have the meta perk that can start you with buildings, and buildings are cheaper. Add a laid back spec that has no difficulty, 99-minute timer. Yeah, I think we've addressed these things. I'm going to just get rid of this. All right, bug. Cut out all town perks. Yeah, this is just a bug probably not worth ever addressing. Yeah, I'm gonna write this here. No, you know what I should do? I should file it and then close it there so I don't need to check it in a document at some point. Dynamic town perks won't... Getting all available town perks. I'll just say bug with getting all available town perks, and we'll just write it out because coming up with the title is apparently too difficult for me right now. So we just do copy as markdown and then paste it into here. All right, repro steps. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, so create, and I'm just going to write, this is still an issue, but it's just not important enough to tackle. If you ever get all 100, or if you ever get more than 100 town perks, I don't think you'll even realize that you're missing one of them. And we'll just say close as not planned. Cool. Hey, Shaky. Knocking out to do is a man versus to do. Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks for taking a look into that. All right, we're going to X that out. I guess let's just open this up. All right, abandon the quest. I wasn't getting any bows from the waterway. This is already fixed. Yeah, that was a bug. And I fixed a couple of problems with that, I think. Need a particle effect, being clear when you finish a run. Spirit Caller summons are missing a sliver of health. That's still a bug. I'm probably not going to do anything about this. But I should leave it there for now. Concrete ideas add negative twist, limited options. Not doing that, that's for sure. Garbage slime has an X% chance to spend all hunger to eat something. That's kind of cool as a difficulty thing. In fact, I guess all of these could still be difficulty things. Yeah, where is that? Difficulty changes. Random time. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. This is super cool. I love this idea. A shadow customer. They're a townsperson that just takes items without paying. So they have exactly the same logic as a regular customer, but they've got like a shadowy graphic and they just don't give you any money. I think that'd be pretty cool. This is probably super important. Oops. What else do we have here, though? Change perk balancing. Add one more level of entropic magic that has an 80% chance. Actually, yeah, we could rebalance it for challenge mode. I'm going to X that out for now, though. Mark that as done. Get that off the list. Give them all the cheap armor items. Someday, that'll just be a thing of the past. Today is not that day. Code trade-offs, broader and deeper perks, rerolls, and harder difficulty levels. Have we done most of this? Add more options. I mean, we're just Xing out of all this at this point. Balancing. Our specialization related positives too impactful. I'm just deleting this stuff. None of this matters anymore. Did we end up using the display names for the trade-off choices? If not, we should probably refactor them out and simplify trade-off abilities constructor. So it specifies the name of this should never show. Well, I'm going to just X this out. I don't think this matters. We end up keeping this system. We should probably polish the tooltips. Yeah, I ended up doing that once we dropped the system. I guess I should probably mark this as done. Yeah, I'll just, it doesn't matter if it's an X or not. Should probably have each ability manifest whether it can be positive or negative. We're not doing that. Make a new tab under perks. We have all. Should probably be named town. I should make twists. I'm not doing that either. Hey, Blair. We're doing boring stuff. Welcome to a boring stream. Figure out how many trade-off choices you should even get per run. Just Xing out all of this. Broader and deeper perks. Make a separate task for this where you come up with the perks and then code them. I don't know what I was even talking about. Consider whether we want to offer the numerical trade-off choices again at deeper levels. We're not doing that. Harder difficulty levels. Trade-off and deeper perks should allow for more broken builds. If this stuff looks like it worked, consolidate the design and rationale from here. What is this? Add trade-off options to the game. Like the idea of breaking the game through more perk or deaths of perk. Oh yeah, we did that with meta perks. I forgot about that. Add reroll tokens. Well, we did this stuff, but I'm not going to go merge this into the design. That's busy work at this point. So this is all finished. So now we're on to that. I guess I might as well clean this all up. Oh, good. It's broken. All right. There. Boring stuff, PogChamp. If only I felt that way. You know what, though? I do feel the way that I want to keep working on the game and keep putting in time. And I end up saying this a lot, but this whole brick command, the bricklaying thing that I talk about, I think it's really important to remind myself of that mentality. Like, I do just need to put in hours. That's what's going to get this game done. And it's not going to be fun for a lot of that. But this is what it's going to take. All right, please tell me I put this in here. I did. Okay. Coded 5 out of 9 specializations. Delete never coded this placeholder. I'm guessing this is gone. Yeah, it's gone. Probably shouldn't make them too hard to code. Look at this PR. What is this? Is it a constraint thing? I'm not going to look at this. I don't care. Render constraints in the objective details. Consider whether the constraint should work like how power buff works. I'm not going to do this either. Balance what we have, maybe just with perk levels. Probably need enemy stat multiplier to be less impactful. That one's already done. Change something like get gold based on how much sludge you get from a fish. More perks than just extraction will help. It's not bad. But I don't think I'm going to do that now either. Okay. Make extracted / ground items still offer money toward the objective. No, we don't need to do this. Idle observations as I played. Treasure system problems. Wow, look at that. August 22nd. Keys are either too easy or too hard to get. There's no point where they feel great. What if we did away with basic keys altogether? This question never came to fruition. But yeah, the rest of it I think we might have addressed. Chests should cap their cost at something, maybe 50 gold. At that point, you're opening them so fast you don't need more treasure stands. Oh, because of how rapidly keys worked? Is that why I said that? I don't know, but this is done. Have we thought about synergies and anti-synergies as much as we can? I think some of the most fun discoveries in a roguelike are synergies you typically wouldn't expect that you can then exploit. Like crops grow instantaneously but are always carrots, and another perk that each time you harvest a crop. I'm just going to exit this out. I need to get on that mindset as well. I feel stuck on a couple of large scale issues, so I'm working on the game a lot less. Maybe not a lot less, but I'm just mostly working on the art. So I think we have slightly different starting cases. You mentioned that there are a couple of large scale issues. I have like 1,000 small scale issues, and none of them are so hard that I can't do them. It's like, oh, go put a tooltip for this thing, or clarify that, or I don't know, fix this small bug. But none of them are interesting to develop. Or if they are, they're probably like few and far between. So for this, it's like if I put in 1 hour, I could probably get done with like 3 of those items maybe. For this, I think you do need to have enough like mental space to be able to tackle large scale issues so that you're not just taking a hacky solution through it and then realizing it's biting you down the line. I think an hour put in is still an hour put in, but it's just an hour put in toward the mindless stuff could be a bad hour, and it could still end up working out just fine. Trade-off perks probably need be more interesting. We don't have to worry about this anymore. Pretty much ignored the treasure room for most runs. Hey, look at that. I had that written down even in August. I think this sort of thing points to a certain shallowness in challenge mode. It's like we need more content, more systems, more variety, and yet we have to launch at some point. Wow. Past Adam sure knew a lot. And current Adam looks back and thinks, what a journey. And yet, this is the cycle of development. It's feel good and do stuff, and then feel panic, and then feel good and do stuff, and then panic. Can never not panic. Yeah, so this has been tackled. Almost certainly need another enchanter spell if the system is going to be as interesting as possible. Yeah, we did that. Wow. A lot of these idle observations turned into changes in the game. So the system is working. Key issue is that there's nothing to react to, so your plan is kind of on autopilot. The game doesn't change as you play it. Maybe if there were any event every 5 minutes, it would change things up. I still think this would be a good idea. And I want to write this in the issue that we have for this, add fun events. I'll write an update at the top of this. Update. I think this is mostly just important for bone mode. And even then, it's just because there's nothing different within a run. Yeah. But for now, let's just put a minus sign here. Come on. There we go. Maybe you have some wisdom on this. I'm kind of stuck on a large scale reward structure in the game. Today I had the realization that I need to stop thinking about it as a monolith and break it down to specific problems and goals. Haven't got much further. Got any thoughts or opinions on the subject? I think I need to play your specific game to know more about this. When you say large scale reward structure, what it makes me think is something like meta progression. I know you're making a card game, but I don't know if it's a deck builder kind of game or I don't know, like a stage-based thing where you get a deck for each stage or something like that. So an idea that I really liked is from Gloomhaven. I think this is called like a legacy board game, in that a run you do today could affect a run you do a year in the future. And in particular, I'm pretty sure Gloomhaven is a card game. It's been forever since I played that. I forgot the basic mechanics of it. But they have a way of permanently upgrading cards. You put stickers on the cards and it does something different. Yeah, there are cards in the game. But I don't remember exactly how this system works. Yeah, I don't remember this at all. But the thing about cards getting better, like let's go with Slay the Spire. Strike does 6 damage, right? Imagine if you had like a strike level 1 does 6 damage, and your cards start out at a higher level if you keep playing. So now strike level 2 does like 6 to 7 damage, and then strike level 3 always does 7 damage, and so on and so forth. So it's like, okay, this is probably isn't going to make or break a run, but it's going to make you feel like things are getting better without you having to do a whole lot. But this is also a way of lowering the difficulty, or potentially, framed a different way, allowing you to take on higher, like bigger challenges. So it is a reward, but it's a reward that, like, it's going to change the game. As opposed to a cosmetic item, you get hats on your characters or something. That's not going to make the game any easier. Just easier on the eyes. Didn't realize you hopped back on. Welcome back. Yeah, I have a bot posting to the Adam Learns Discord every time I start streaming again. So if you ever want to get notifications, you can join there and then just up in, channels and roles. You can just click, yes, I want to be notified when I start the stream. Otherwise, yeah, there are Twitch notifications. You can check your following list or something. But I said earlier today there was like a 60% chance that I'd come back. So it turns out the chance is now collapsed. It's a 100% chance that I'm here right now. But I went within 1 run. Should have been more clear. So I think another thing you could think about maybe is there could be like side objectives. And I don't know if you've played Downfall, but there's a boss you can play as in the game, the Hex Flame guy. And it's like these like mini quests. Hearthstone has the same general concept where it says something like play 2 skills to do X, or play 3 attacks to do Y. So it's like you'll probably naturally do this, but it's just a tiny little twist on what you might have done. Yeah, Hexaghost. Yeah. Yeah, so this is also what some of the relics have you do, right? It's like play 3 skills in a turn to do 5 damage to all enemies. Like that's a fun thing to have to consider, because you might naturally do it, but it might also be like, well, I could play an attack, and then you forget that this relic exists, and you're like, I could have done 5 damage to everybody. So a way of doing this within a game, you could have some like temporary relic system, for example, where you do something and you get a relic for like that run. I'd be careful about that, because anything that changes the rules is something that a player needs to internalize, and a lot of people aren't going to play a game with the intensity that lets them immediately know, okay, this rule is in effect. I'm going to keep that in mind from here on out. As a classic example in video games, a lot of older games had some system where it would like reverse your controls. So now you press left and it sends a right input, and vice versa. That's a kind of thing that if it happened 90% of the time, you'd probably get used to it and you'd be able to play around it. But if it happens 1% of the time, it's just annoying. And you're like, it's reverse controls right now. Yeah, that's right. I got to remember that. So you got to be careful not to cognitively overload the player. I have exactly that system. And you're saying it's still not enough? Oh, okay, Cypher. Yeah. Well, if you do join the other one, welcome. And you certainly don't have to, by the way. I was just saying if you wanted a notification that's a little bit more certain than the other notifications, that can work. But yeah, like I said, I think it's hard to suggest almost anything for any game without playing that game, because you don't know what it feels like as a player, what you want in the moment. And the other thing too is, and I find this myself a lot of the times when it comes to a game design thing, players may complain about X and suggest Y, but you as the dev come up with Z, which fixes their problem. But players are not suggesting Z. They don't even know that Z is a possibility. So this is the kind of thing that I think is the most important. If you don't have that insight into a game, you might only take it at face value and be like, oh yeah, this is the problem, and I'm going to suggest this is a solution. It might turn out there's a different problem. Oh, where does one locate it? It is right there. That's one of the things that's got to be there, and I'm being way too vague for sure, being philosophical and broad. Players didn't complain about it. This is all just coming from me. I think that's another thing you got to be a little bit careful about, is that I think as a game developer, it's likely that you can predict problems that will happen, but it is also possible that they're not problems. I know I was just talking about this earlier. I think there is a 90% chance that there is a problem if you think there's one. So I would just say validate that with players. Like maybe ask them questions and say, hey, do you find you were happy with the power level in that run? How do you feel on your 17th run versus your 8th run? Do you want there to be some differences? Keep an eye on how many workers we start you with and how many we give out. Too few workers feels like an RTS. Too many feels like you're not actually doing anything. I think we've balanced this out pretty well. Storage at a premium, and you're not guaranteed to get those. We did add one more perk that allows you to get storage. We could do maybe one more. Actually, we did this for sure. We didn't do this. We kind of sort of did this. One potential fix would be to increase the scale of everything. Shops have a max of 30 slots. You can start with 6 or 8. Probably one of the only things that would make your own clicking less valuable. Yeah, I'm going to run a minus sign here. Can't see how many guild supplies you've gotten for adventures you haven't hired yet. Then maybe in bone mode, adventure level should consider the guild level 2. This is still a problem. So let's file everything else we've got so far. Or just move this down the list. Oh, wow. That's almost the end of the phase 1 stuff. We got done with more than I thought then, huh? No, it's totally fine, Claire. I do not mind you asking questions or taking up more this time. I am just managing the to-do list, and it's still going pretty well. Give you a key for the playtest. Obviously, no pressure. Yeah, sure. You can send one along. Can you play on Mac by any chance? And by you, I mean, can I play on Mac by any chance? One potential fix would be increase the scale. We're not doing this. Toward the end, you seem limited by workers on loot, which means you need... We kind of fixed this by giving you hardworking adventurers by default. Armor items stack up quite a lot without having an outlet. That's still a problem. Codex has reminded me nearly daily. Any adventurers that never seem to have a place in challenge mode probably just need to be buffed. Yeah. I still think that's kind of an issue. Showing stats for buildings would help balance. How much sludge the pond got you? I'm not going to do this. Definitely seems like it's better to just park a high-level party in the waterways than to go to the Inferno. Produces way too much loot. Not even sure we'd combat this. I think we've kind of tackled this. Give you a perk where the slime offers a minimum of 2 gold. We did this. Not all stats work for all adventurers. We have this written down elsewhere. It'd be nice to have some town perks that affect battle. Would be kind of nice for that. Hey, Sully. Happy Friday afternoon. Never used a Mac, so I don't know anything about it. Probably I can just export it from Godot and then make a Steam branch. You only can if you have a Mac. But anyway, don't worry about it. I have a Windows machine, so yeah, if you DM me a key, I can take a look. Also, any instructions you might have for it. The way I generally play other people's games when it comes to giving feedback is I share a sort of stream of consciousness style notes. So like I'll write down something like title screen, like button didn't make a sound or something like that, or not clear what change quest means or something like that. And then I'll just be like, okay, main gameplay, noise coming from the enemies. I'll just write random things down, and it'll be very terse, and I don't tend to police my own tone a lot when I do this. So if that sounds good to you and that would benefit you, then I can probably take a look. And I can't promise when is the other thing. So it might be this weekend, it might be sometime in the future. I'm gonna just close this out for now. At least in hard mode, treasure room doesn't seem worth it. Yep. Yep. Enchanter's role should be more of a fill-in for anything. Yep, this is done too. Yeah, wow. These were in August, right? I'm assuming they were in August because I have this written here. I can't know for sure. Well, I mean, I could know for sure, but it'd be very, very annoying to do. But yeah, I think this was back in August, so it's nice to see that we've kind of fixed these things. And this is because we changed the timer. Change of putting an item into it gives you more portion toward that. Idea I came up with is to track the total cost, give you a bonus. I don't think we need to do this stuff. Probably best to defer this question until we have more certainty. Yeah, I'm just going to... No time to prioritize where you put keys, so that whole key system is less interesting. Yeah, this is another problem. I know I keep rehashing the past here, but the way that chess used to work is we had a quantity and a multiplier. And the way we figured out how many items you got out of it, we just multiplied the two. So if you got a key that increased the quantity, you'd have to look at which chest had the lowest quantity or the items that you wanted in it and then boost that ones. Well, it's like all this stuff is happening so fast, you don't really want to try to figure that out. It's easier to look at what the game is telling you right in the game, which is the time. So yeah, this has been addressed now. So we can mark all of these things as finished and go delete all that from the list. I'm so happy I'm doing this, by the way. I know this is boring. I know this is not good stream content. But man, I needed to do this for my own peace of mind. All right, so now we're on to phase 2. If we look at our character count, oh, whoops. If we look at our character count, we're at 32,400. That's what I like to see. So we have gotten through 54% of the to-do list. Just by getting rid of like stale items or things I've already done. Sounds good to me. Try to get a public friendly build in the coming weeks and then let you know. And I'll send you some instructions on what I'm interested in. Okay, I will say this in terms of my own personal time. I will probably be a little bit more free toward the end of November. So I know you said a few weeks. A few weeks would probably put us at like end of October or something. I'll probably be busy then. But yeah, November is a little bit more open right now. Very valuable to see how you work. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Although this is all stuff I did a while ago that now I'm just like carving through. All right, figure out what's going on with bosses. I never did this. Yeah, that's still a to-do item. Handle these ideas. We could have later challenges be add-ons on cast. This could add a loot item to each chest that's active. I don't think we need to do that stuff. Whenever you get to it is fine by me. Which would you prefer? Again, this you can just include in your instructions if you want, but if you'd rather that I wait a few weeks, then let me know because I can add a calendar reminder. But if you were like, you know what, it is fine this weekend, because at least from my point of view as a game developer, having a new player try something is very valuable. Having a repeated player try something is much less valuable for my particular game because it's not a game that's supposed to be like a 500-hour game. But if I were making something like StarCraft, yeah, I think a repeat player trying it would be very valuable too. But for me, it's mostly like, hey, how do I capture that like new Steam customer who they never heard of Skeleseller, they downloaded it, and they're trying it for the first time. So I can only be a new player for your game once. So just if you want it to be 3 weeks from now or something, do let me know. Big if, I take notes, I never revisit them. Oops. I think that's still fine. I think there's something to be said for reinforcing knowledge that you gain just by writing the notes, even if you never come back to the notes. And in this particular case, these weren't just like arbitrary notes. They were to-do items. So some of these represent work that still needs to be done, in which case it's obviously got to stay on this list. I guess we're deleting the phase 2 stuff. Maybe I just say like unhandled right now. So this still needs to be done. Figure out how to make specialization specific difficulties. See this. No, this is not even correct anymore. Ugh. That's how I study. I take notes but never go back to study them. Writing it all down just helps me remember it a bit better. Yeah, and the other thing I find that my notes are pretty good at helping with, well, actually the biggest case, and this is what I highly advise for anyone who's even like moderately technical, is just make troubleshooting notes. So let's say, I don't know, you have a hardware device and it's like device has a red flashing light on it. It's like, what did you do to fix it last time it had that? Or what does that mean? Or, it could be any issue you run into. Your router is rebooting every 15 minutes. How did you fix it the last time, or what caused it? As a more concrete example for me, that camera used to be blurry a couple weeks ago and I reseated the lens. It's like, I didn't know to do that ahead of time. And 2 years from now, if it happens again, I might be like, oh, I know I had this problem, but what did I do? Well, now it's in my notes. So I find that those I go back to a decent amount, and especially for things you do slightly uncommonly. So for example, I have this exporting from Godot. The troubleshooting at the bottom is like, hey, what if the buttons are disabled? What if the game crashes on Mac? What if we have the wrong executable name? Like, I'm probably never going to hit this problem again for Skeleseller, but the next game I make, I might hit this problem, and I'm not going to remember. Figure out how we want to do this. Started this process here. An idea struck me. Maybe better to have difficulties per specialization, maybe even tailored to that specialization. You know what I kind of wonder? Something that we could do. These are two ways to present the same thing. But we could have like scenario number 1 is farming mode, and scenario number 2 is adventuring, and so on and so forth. And then we get to scenario number 11, and it is farming mode hard, and 12 would be adventuring mode hard. Or another way we could present this is just scenario number 1, farming mode, and then a checkbox for hard. And you only unlock the checkbox after you've already beaten 10 scenarios. So anyway, both are possible. I don't even know why I said any of this. It's not important. But I don't think we're doing any of this stuff. Yeah, I'm just going to delete this. Stuff to archive. End of November is perfect, probably, since I need to have a build ready for a convention at the start of December. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So Flare, I don't know if you've already DM'd me or not. If you have, definitely just remind me about the whole end of November thing. And if you haven't, then I don't know, you could always write yourself a reminder and then just message me the key in mid-November. Hey Ginger, are you learning? Not really. I really kind of want to rebrand on Twitch. But the last time I rebranded, I had to modify, no kidding, like 1,000 links on the internet. And I strongly dislike that process. It took me hours and hours and hours. And I don't want to do that again. What you making, what you doing? Well, today is super boring. So I always keep the today command updated. But in general, what we're working on is a game called Skeleseller. And there's a Steam link here for what the game is. I just published a new demo recently, and I published a new playtest version this morning. So the demo's got about 2 hours of content. It's a very relaxed city building, like semi-idle game. If you've played idle games before, you would probably not consider this an idle game. But if you haven't played an idle game before, then I guess you don't have any expectations to shatter. But like I said, we're doing something super boring today. So today we're just going through the to-do list. I had at the beginning of this, so at actually an hour and 3 minutes ago, I had 71,000 characters in this document just representing to-do items. And now we've gotten it down to 32,000. So we're slowly chunking away at all this stuff that doesn't need to be here. We're not actually doing anything, just to be clear. So like this, figure out how we're going to handle this. If this were still a to-do item, I'm not going to go code this right now. 12K hours in Legends of Eidolon. Okay, yeah. So this would not, you would not consider this an idle game then. And I think it's really important for me to figure out how I'm marketing this, because I keep saying idle light. What it really is, it's a game with automation that you could leave running, but probably shouldn't. So that's kind of what I'd categorize this as. But I definitely think you would like this. So you should maybe give it a shot if you want to. Like I said, the demo's there, it's available. What engine to use, how long did it take to get to where you are? So engine is Godot, and how long did it take to get to this point? I've got this journal here that you could take a look at. I'm not going to have you don't have to look at this, but I started in April, I think it was April 17th. Yeah, April 17th is when I started the GitHub repo for this. Before that, it was something called Idle Ascendance, and it was supposed to be a more idle game. But we ditched that idea. This was Idle Ascendance. Hey, Typical. How's it going? Maybe it doesn't fit any category perfectly. Unique game. I think that... Oh, let me turn that off. Yeah, I think that's pretty true. I don't think it perfectly fits. I should get this to a point where I can actually show how this game works, which involves leveling up a bit, which is unfortunately not fast or fun. This was the prototype for Skeleseller, and it was basically just like an automated Final Fantasy 1. And as mentioned, it's not super fun. The idea was that you would manually input all of your moves at first, and then as you level up, you'd get this automation skill, so that now a quarter of the time I don't have to pick a move. So here this bar filled up and I did have to click, but 1/4 of the time I should not have to click. Yeah, it's not even showing that. And then you'd eventually get other characters somehow. I don't remember how that happened. Maybe it was just fighting enough enemies and getting enough experience. Hey, nice. Okay, so I level up and now half the time I don't need to pick a thing. So I shouldn't have to click here. Yeah, nice. So after you fully automate a character, there's no actual interest in this game. It's like, yeah, your adventurers would fight on their own, but is that fun? Turns out the answer is no. But this is how I think a lot of idle games end up working. Okay, so now we're at that. Now we're at level 3. Oh yeah, I end up repeating myself a lot on stream. I'm sure I talk about this stuff a lot too. Hey, we've almost gotten to the max level though. Nice. So now it says new character available. So we can, wait, what? Can we get skill points in this? No. But yeah, so now they'll just fight on their own constantly and we can unlock another character. The Necromancer. Neat. Do the arrow keys work? Or the number keys? No, apparently not. Did any of that stuff work? That does. Why does that make sense? Oh, strange. Poison dagger. How stupid. Oh man. Necromancy. Oh yeah, I summoned a skeleton. I don't even know how the skeleton attacks. Oh, maybe they're just attacking on their own. What a game. What a game. All right, well, let's save, so I don't have to do that again. We can listen to sweet music. This is pretty good. I think it's about to loop. No. We're going to this section. Anyway, I made that a long time ago. Note to self, think a bigger impact will come from adding events. So I'm not going to do that. As we have more perks, we need to think about how storage impacted. I'll keep that on the list up above. Perk ideas. Unity dev full-time over the last 10 years. Nice. Yeah, I haven't used Unity in a very long time, and I've used it for maybe a total of like 3 months over my entire life. I don't have anything against the engine. I think I have something against the company now, though. I think they just really mishandled the monetization stuff that had happened, whatever it was, a year or 2 or 3 ago. I wonder how many people were using Unity and lost trust in Unity as a company. But if it's meeting your needs, and if they're, I mean, they backpedal on all of those decisions anyway. So if it's meeting your needs and now there isn't a problem with it, and hopefully they don't add a problem again. Still, one of the things I always kind of wonder about, and even Netflix said for the longest time, like, we'll never have ads, we'll never have ads. And like, maybe we should have ads. And it all depends on how much people push back against it. I'm actually not totally sure. We were just talking about Netflix the other day, but they have an ad subsidized tier, right? Is that a thing? Ad supported tier, which launched in 2022. Yeah. Yeah, crazy. So what, you save like $10 a month by just having ads? Which means Netflix must have determined that it's monetarily viable for them. All right, fishing. Auto create fish. I don't know if that's very interesting. I guess it could be. I'll leave it as an idea. Perk ideas. Yeah. Anything else? Make customers tip occasionally even when they don't desire an item. It's a way of adding. Oh, you know what would be really interesting? I don't know if I have this written down anywhere, but like, what if a customer could buy 2 items at a time? I'm not sure if we need to do this though. I'll just need to keep testing out the balance of this, because eventually you can start a new scenario with like 5 customers at the beginning, or 5 more customers, so like 8 total or 9 total, and then I don't think you'll probably have too much of a surplus. Amazon Prime just introduced ads. For what exactly? For the video service? Oh yeah, for $3. Okay, yeah, you must be talking about the video service. Yeah, we were watching something. What was it? No, I was watching The Boys. That's what it was. And yeah, it had ads, and I was like, when did this happen? I gotta say, I very much value not having ads in things. So if there's a service I use enough, and right now it's YouTube, I'm paying for YouTube Premium. And like back in the day, I paid for Twitch Turbo when I was watching a lot of Twitch. I just strongly dislike ads interrupting content. It's especially bad with live content. So like on this stream, I could be talking and maybe in the middle of a sentence, it'll just start playing an ad. And like, I don't pay attention to that myself as a streamer. So that means that you're all like, what was he going to say? And you just can't hear it. All right, take care, Ginger. Yeah. I would start pirating. I'm against pirating. At least my own personal stance is, if you have the money, you shouldn't pirate. And this is what I try to follow. And I mean, we can afford whatever streaming service that we're talking about. Hey, Dig It, thank you for the sub. Hey, mind repeating yourself? I had ads. Yeah, I've had people say that a lot. At least now, although I guess it's only for subs, which then wouldn't have this happen to them in the first place. But now you have live rewind on Twitch. So once they roll that out to everybody, that hopefully won't be as big of a problem. But I think there's still gonna be a lot of people who are just like, hey, I saw an ad, can you just repeat what you said? Even though they can literally go back and rewind your stream. Maybe make customers tip occasionally. So I don't think I want to do this. Location modifications. I don't know how we would do this in such a way that's interesting. We already have shiny loot. I don't think we're going to do this. Get more items in a particular location. Maybe just get more of a certain type. Item stacking per shop. I still like the item stacking per shop or per display. I don't know how I want to do that. I'm going to exit out from here. But let's go figure out if that's written down. Yeah, shop specific item stacking, or maybe the warehouse. Yep, yep, yep. I'm against it too, but I'm not paying to watch an ad. There's a reason I don't watch cable. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I mean, this is why there are ad subsidized things. There's a cost with ads and there's a cost without ads. And the businesses have determined that they'll get more customers if they subsidize it with ads. I think kind of the craziest thing to me is how Kindle does it. Kindle, for those who don't know, so Kindle has an e-ink display, which means that even when it's off, it can be showing something. And Amazon sells Kindles that can have ads while the system is off. And it's just like if you had a book on your table that was open, or like a magazine on your table that was open to an ad, a perfume ad or something like that. It's like, yeah, your Kindle now looks like that when it's off. And what they do is they just knock some amount of money off the price. Maybe it's like 20 bucks or 30 bucks. And you'll just have ads forever now. 300 with ads, 4.99 without ads, except for live events. Yeah. Yep. 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 Isn't something crazy happening in like Spain with soccer? Something along those lines? I don't know. I think also I say soccer as an American, but I guess football the rest of the world. But I think non-American football has a lot of shady sounding things from my point of view. Maybe it's just FIFA. Where do we leave off of this? Here. Add easy mode. We're not doing this. Allow players to adjust the number of starting perks they have. This is actually already done. Oh, I did this for the sake of cheats. I mean, I guess it's kind of sort of done. Could be a perk idea or a specialization thing that extracts your ground items, counter the objective. We're not doing that. Maybe do this by default. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Cool. Great. Ideas. Just mark those as done. A lot of the ideas were listed as ideas because I didn't know what challenge mode would look like. Now that we have more certainty, it's like, yeah, these don't really make any sense anymore. Their ads are only for books, at least in Germany. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't make that clear. I don't actually know what the ads are for. They're probably only for books here too. Something happening daily somewhere. Yeah, I thought I read something like this. I don't even remember what it was. Oh, I know what it was. It was in the game dev subreddit. Someone was like, "Hey, I have a game and it goes offline every so often," or something like that. And they lived in Spain and they found out that their ISP can like shut down non-soccer internet traffic. It just sounds crazy. Hey, Meridio. You imagine reading your book and in the middle of the page they spontaneously give you an ad before you can continue? I I think that with books it wouldn't work because people could always go get a physical book where that's impossible. Because you just tear out the page if there was an ad, and then no one would ever have to see that ad again. But with video, it's impossible to have a physical analog, right? I guess you could. You could have a flip book or something, but you wouldn't do that. All right, add basic tracking. We've done this already. Oops, wrong symbol. First easy way to do this is this. Switch specializations, blah, blah, blah. How much did you spend? I'm not going to look through this whole thing. Add run history, add item stacking. This all got tabbed in further. Wait. Is this broken? This is one of my least favorite things about Google Docs. And it's not even easy to tell that it happened. So like, here's what I was just in, right? I hit Shift Tab on my keyboard. Wait, no, hang on. Sorry. I gotta go back further for that to. Okay. No, wait. All right. I fixed things and now I'm trying to show you the messed up state. Let me try this again. Okay. Yeah. Now it's happening. So I'm pressing Shift Tab, which should bump this list backwards, but it doesn't because it's not actually part of this list. And you can see the bullet points changed. These are not filled in circles and these are filled in circles. They're two different lists, but they're right next to each other. And I need to turn this into the previous list and then tab it back. And I just strongly dislike that. And there's probably a reason why you'd want to have two lists next to each other, but I don't know what it is. And I never want that. Stream VOD flipbook. Can you imagine? They just slap like a 2-ton stack of papers on your desk. Can't even flip it. Just lost my mind with work. Currently tracking a bug that isn't a bug, according to the product manager. I'm sorry your Friday had to go that way. And yeah. Also typical, do try to be a little bit mindful of the segmenting rule. All right, so this stuff's done. We're gonna just mark this as finished, add this here. So run history is still needed. Item stacking back into the game, price split. I had this written like 4 times on the list. Yeah. So it's definitely already being tracked. I walk away when sales is poking in on dev discussions. You know, I can't think of any of the jobs I worked at having a problem with sales. I've definitely seen problems where product management and engineering don't necessarily agree. Although they're not usually like egregious problems in my experience. I'm not saying they can't be. Obviously they can be. And obviously sales can be a problem too. I just haven't personally hit those particular ones. One time, this is one of my most annoying work stories I had. I was told to do something by my boss. And I passed that message along to other people. And someone got like mad at me. Like, this is exactly why they say don't shoot the messenger. Like, I was just like, hey, here's a new policy that was made. And I was like, hey, we all got to do this policy. And this person like got up from their desk and walked over to a more senior person on the team. And they're like, has this ever been a problem? And that person's like, yeah, it has been a problem. And then they kind of calmed down, but like they got aggressive about it. And it was like deeply upsetting to me that they would react that way, given that I didn't even come up with this decision. I don't remember why I shared that. Oh, the whole sales poking. Yeah, okay. Hey, bye, Bob. Ask them to implement licenses on a feature already released for free. Wow. Clients reach out to sales manager, then comes to me, try and help, report bug. PM says no issues here. Yeah. Yeah. I think part of this is just, it's part and parcel of working with a team. A bunch of different people thinking different things, prioritizing different things. Hey again, Tyvex. How'd you come up with this game? Did you build it little by little as ideas came to you, or did you visualize everything from the start, playing the demo and really enjoying it? It started with a sort of a broad idea. I'll tell you in broad strokes what actually happened. I have a note called game ideas, and for years I just type whatever into this as an idea strikes me. So maybe I'm about to fall asleep and I'm like, oh man, you know what'd be cool is whatever, League of Legends, but with guns and dinosaurs. I don't actually have that as an idea, but like that might have been written down. So one stream, I went through all my game ideas and I was like, okay, which one should we tackle? And we came up with like an automated Final Fantasy 1, and then we went into prototyping it, designing it, like redesigning and all the rest of the loop that you've pretty much kind of seen on stream. And those VODs are all available if you want to take a look at any of those. So, yeah, I think at any given stage, and I wonder how true this is for other people making games, but like at any given stage, I would have told you, I don't know what this game will look like in about 3 months. Now is maybe the only stage where I could tell you, I'm pretty confident I know what the game's going to look like in 3 months. Because we're nearly done. Pretty much any point up until now, it's like that. Who knows? Yeah. Could look like what I had planned. Could look like something totally different. Wish it was 2015 where writing simple for loops and if statements get you hired instantly. I don't really think it was ever like that. But I do think hiring was drastically different. You try out Tangy TD. I'm not a huge fan of tower defense games. What is Tangy TD? Oh, that's Case's game. I didn't realize that was a name. No, I haven't tried it out. I don't really like tower defense games. I just feel like they're all kind of samey to me. And yeah. I just feel like if I were to, I've not seen Case's game a whole lot, but if I were to just kind of generalize what I've seen in other tower defense games, it's going to be like, there's a single target tower, there's a attacks only air enemies tower, there's some like AoE tower, then there's slowing and stuff, and then you have to figure out like, well, okay, where am I going to position these things? How do I handle upgrades? It's just like every game kind of feels the same. And then there are the hero-based tower defense games. I played a decent amount of those. They're also the same when it comes to towers, but then they give you a hero on top of that stuff that you can move around and use abilities. Those are more interesting to me, at least, because it was sort of like 2 genres mashed together. But even then, a lot of those were mobile games, and mobile games have the problem of having sort of perverse incentives when it comes to monetization. I don't like that. The other thing I kind of realized, it's weird to say, but like I don't like most games just in general. And I've talked about some of the big titles that I played, and I mentioned this in the last couple of weeks, but I tried Hogwarts Legacy for maybe about 2 hours, and I was just like, I'm not into this. I don't want to keep playing. So I tend to put a lot of time into a few games instead of a little bit of time into a lot of games. All right, I don't think we're gonna randomize loot or quests probably. So let's put that stuff up here. What else do we have? Want to make higher level limits for some perks. We've already done this. Try to get actual balance. Each location should be roughly one level higher than the last. Figure out how much gold you should start with. Loot should be randomized. Warehouse isn't appealing without some perks. Perks should feel impactful. Stop generating stats for characters or it would make no sense. This I don't think is the thing we're going to do. Treasure room needs to cost less. Allow for opening chests sooner. Need to reduce the cost of a weapon grinder. We've done this stuff. We've done this stuff. Pay $15 to move forward or wait $30 for half of your energy to come back. It's not even necessarily the stamina games, although those are really bad. I was thinking more in terms of just progression. And a lot of games will have this sort of structure. I'm not thinking of any particular game when I think about this, but it'll be like ratings for, let's say, items. So you'll have like S tier items and A tier items and B tier items and so on and so forth. And it's like the game will only naturally give you up to B tier and super rarely an A tier here and there. So it's like, oh, hey, you struggling with this level? Here's a bunch of S tier items, but guess what? They're like $5 a piece or something. This structure is just so frustrating to me. There's just something I don't like about that. No matter how skilled you are, how much you play, you're not going to get the best stuff in the game. And the developers probably balanced around having the best stuff in the game. And I'm not talking like a spend $1 million to max out your character kind of thing. It's just like, oh, you hit some friction. Maybe spend $10 on our starter package. And it's like, man, I don't want to do that. They fix it. I think there are only maybe 2 mobile games I've spent money on, and the money wasn't even mine. It was like the free Google Play bucks that you get. And one was Nonogram's Katana, and the other was an idle game. And both of the purchases I made were just like go ad free in the game. Nonogram's Katana is fantastic. Highly recommend this game if you're into Picross at all. The idle game, I'm not even going to say the name of because I don't think it's fantastic. All right, coding other specializations. We're not doing this. Get save files working is already done. Anything special about this now? If we can make a single save file for any particular mode, save that. Add metrics. We did that. Figure out how to expose multiple save files in the UI. Oh, we haven't done this part yet. I never really thought about that. But I think we have this written on GitHub. Save slots, yeah. Okay, then I'm not going to do anything there. And we need the game version to be in the save history. Loading shouldn't show signpost. Yeah, let's release to playtesters. Maybe ask some IRL friends. Oh, IRL friends. I got to write a note to myself. Ask Ryan to playtest in November or December. I need to write that somewhere since no one knows which Ryan I'm talking about. His identity is safe. All right, run history. Yeah, run history still needs to happen. This is what Codex was just asking earlier about too. Wait a sec though. There's like save the highest metal. Where's that one? What am I doing? I think I'm just looking here. I think there's a lot of ads. It throws me off from a mobile game with the extremely slow stamina system in a lot of them. Stamina gain is super slow and you use all of your stamina in 10 minutes of playing. So it makes me immediately uninstall a game. I think You know, it's kind of sad what's happened with monetization on mobile. I still think the gold standard in my mind should be that you pay once for a game and there's some like free demo of the game. I get that that doesn't make as much money as a free to play model, but your message reminded me of a kind of game that I've seen. Oh yeah. Yeah, every once in a while a streamer will be sponsored by something and I'll go check out that game. There was some, what was it called? It was like I don't remember the name. Anyway, it involves zombies. And this game was trying to be everything. There was like a city building mechanic, even though it wasn't really needed. There was some kind of like battle puzzle thing going on and all sorts of upgrades and other things you could do. And I feel like it's just like a little playground designed to keep you there looking at all the different shiny things and which buttons light up and how you can just keep getting that dopamine hit of progress all the time. A Timberborn. Oh, that's that beaver game, right? Yeah. Humans are long gone. Yeah, this game did very well. What's that asterisk for? Oh, is that the in your language? Oh, interesting. I don't think I've ever seen this on Steam. Off-topic review activity detected. Click for more details. Time range has been marked as containing an abnormal set of reviews that we believe are largely unrelated to the likelihood you would enjoy the product. Wow. Man, Steam's been making a lot of nice changes to just their storefront. It feels like it's getting more modern. And that's a really nice little piece of transparency there. Like, imagine if Amazon did this. All right, where did I leave off of this? Phase 3. So now this is the unhandled section. Yeah. All right, tip system stuff. What happened? What did happen here? Reusing locations. Do I have that written anywhere else? Figure out what's going on with bosses. Yeah, I do have that written. All right, tip system stuff. I do want to add that in at some point, so I think that's still something we're going to keep. Build up the tasks here. What is this? Comb through design tab. Comb through perk ideas. I'm not doing that. Make proper new and load game features from the title screen. Sort out save files. Figure out the UI. We did all this stuff. Man, we really jumped all over the place, huh? Remove the interstitial UI introduced in phase 1. Bookmark no longer exists. Oh, God. Oh, I know what I was talking about. And we've done that already. Well, we didn't do it, but it's still needed. What was it originally? God. I think you clicked challenge mode and it brought you to a screen that then from there brought you into the game. And I wanted to get rid of that, but we keep it now. I sent a request on Discord. Okay, yeah. You're talking about for the playtest, right? I probably asked this earlier. But have you played the demo? I'll just type it in chat. You have. Okay, yeah. Yeah, then I can get back to you after the stream is done, I think. All right, consider a public playtest. Be very clear. All right, this is still potentially valuable. I'm very worried about something like this, though. First of all, let's say I did just have a public playtest. And to be clear, Steam supports this idea. So you can go to a site and it'll say, it's like a Steam page, and it'll say something like join playtest or request access. So that's what it would look like. How many people would even find the page and click that button? Probably not many. But then the people who do are probably people who would have wanted to just buy the game. You'd basically be getting the game for free. I think I'm just not going to do this right now. We can still consider it for later, but it doesn't need to be on the list. So this is all stuff that now needs to be archived. Let's go and delete all this. Cool. All right, how many characters are we down to now? 22,309. Yeehaw. We're less than a third of what we started with. Now, dare I look through all the cleanup tasks? Oh man, there's only so much of this I can do. You know, I even just went to the library yesterday and started doing this for my personal life. And roughly 1 hour is my limit most of the time. Now, I've been streaming and doing this for about 100 minutes so far. So we're at, you know, like about 50% over that if you factor out all the chatting I've been doing. Maybe not even quite 50% over if you factor in the chatting. But yeah, this is where my eyes start to just like glaze over. I don't think I'm going to look through this right now. Yeah, let me write this in here. Got rid of like 50K, got rid of like 66% of my to-do list in the challenge mode document. Oh, indeed. Yeah, we got rid of 78.4%. That's, or 68.4%, sorry. That's pretty good. So what I think Monday is going to be, I'm not sure I'm ending right now, but I think the focus is going to be just bricklay my way through the challenge mode document. There's probably some stuff that's more important than other stuff on here. I should look through the cleanup thing. Okay, then that's what I'll do. I'll take a quick break and then I'll come back and we'll look through the cleanup stuff. I don't want to do this. Look through the cleanup section. Okay, is it jump time? It's jump time. All right, again, for those who've never seen this, just type join in Twitch chat and J and a number and you can play. I'll run another ad just because that way it won't interrupt whatever I do after this. And I'll be back in a bit. Hey, I caught that last jump, Shaky. You jumped and then just went down to third place. But good game. Close the game. Close the game. Cool. Thank you, computer. All right, don't save the timer for that. That's still true. Tool tips to each perk to explain what it does. What is it? For skills, it'd be great to show the skill tooltip, but that may be tough. I think this was supposed to be for battle perks. Yeah, archive these. Yeah, so this is done. See what we did about sludge. It's stored in the chef slime, which means if you try increasing it without having the farm of the pond, it won't do anything. We could just start with the chef slime, even though there's nothing to cook. Yeah, we actually could. Should we? I didn't think about that. Should we indeed? Where's instant loot? Yeah, it says no, you'll only get the crop if you have the chef slime. I don't think there's a problem with giving you the chef slime, but there's also no purpose except for this one scenario. This exact one. You have the enchanter, you have instant loot, and you cast loot magnet, and then you get a crop. One crop. But there's also no downside to giving you the chef slime, right? Yeah, let's try that out. Town challenge mode functions. We create a bunch of stuff for you. Can we just create the chef slime for you? Chef slime. Should fade in. False, I guess. Chef slime is on. Yeah, that's it. That's what it should take, right? Do we assume in the chef slime that you have the farm? We probably can't. No, we can't. Think there have been a few perks that get impacted by not having the slime, or at least discussed perks that may not have gotten implemented. The chef slime is only a drop-off point for crops and fish. And the only way to get crops are only from the farm or instant loot, and fish are only from the pond. And I think that's it. I don't think there's any other way to get a crop or a fish. Yeah, I think this should just work, which means now I think we can delete this code. And then we don't need a note color, which means you don't need UI constants. Nice. Wow, look at that. This whole file got, what, 4 lines shorter? Not that that really matters, but 3 lines. 4 lines. Yeah, 4 lines. So now if I run the game, am I running the right thing? Yes, I am. If I run the game, we should see the chef slime at the very beginning. If you talk to him, yeah, okay, sure. He's just there in the middle of nowhere. So if I get the town perk for instant loot, not gonna find it, am I? And does spicy cooking show up, I guess? Should probably see if I can find that too. There's spicy cooking. Yeah, nice. All right, where's instant loot? It's gonna be pretty rare to find that. There's instant harvest and impulse buying. Those are the other 2 spells. I guess there's one more after that too. Come on, there it is, instant loot, nice. Okay, now we build the enchanters then. And now we look at instant loot. And it says casting this spell will also instantaneously spawn a weapon, potion, armor, crop, and guild supply from the portal. And there's our crop, and a person should take it and bring it to the chef slime. Oh, but now there's no path there. But that's okay. They're able to walk on the grass. Heat customers. All Codex ever wants to do. Just cook those in grades. Okay, that's pretty good. I guess start, whoops. Start bone mode runs with the chef slime. Why did I even do this? Oh yeah, now, okay, that's the real reason. This lets us cheat in sludge now without having to build anything. The shadow customer and lose the game. Chef slime turns evil. So now I can click this. Yeah, nice. This lets us cheat in wisdom sludge without having to build anything. Also, it lets us remove the note in instant loot. So it can give you a crop regardless of whether you have the chef slime. There's probably code for that, isn't there? Enchanter, no, town? Instant loot? Yeah, here it is. If chef slime is not null, then give you that thing. Yeah, that's technically unnecessary now. But it's guard code, and I think it's okay to still have guard code, even if there's no way for this condition to be met. There's still guard code in, what is that function called? Grant instant loot. To ensure you have the chef slime. I'm going to leave it there even though it's impossible for that condition to be met currently. Okie dokie. Yeah, cool. Null checks our friend, not foe. All right, there's some UI things that shouldn't happen in challenge mode. Anything with the available buildings menu, it's probably not super important. What? What? I think the UI for that's been hidden for so long that I must have meant something to do with an event. Yeah, there's no buildings menu here. There's just build, which brings me to this. Oh, it's town menu stuff. I bet I meant something in here. Yeah, like we're initializing this even though there's no need. It doesn't really do anything though. Well, I guess it's calling money changed. And this does have buttons in here, and then this stuff gets triggered and it shouldn't be. What do we do? What do we do? I mean, we could just do this if you're not in challenge mode. I wonder if that's good. Let's put this here. Only initialize available buildings menu in story mode. It used to be initialized no matter what, but it's unnecessary when you're in bone mode. Is there going to be any problem with that? Well, let's take a look. Available buildings menu. Toggle visibility. Nothing will ever have these buttons in here. Okay. Sure. Anything else? No, I think that's it. How many wish lists do you have so far? Let me check. I don't tend to look at this anymore. I used to look at it very frequently. I don't really check it anymore. 9137. Today. So we've gotten about 100 since September 30th. That's because of a few new YouTube videos. I haven't been doing marketing for a little while. I think we'll probably pass 10,000 before we launch. Ideally, we like greatly surpass it, but that would be based on me doing way more marketing, I guess. I think given, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. There were 6 wishlist deletions today. So we only got +2. That's probably happening a lot of the time. There are 777 total deletions. All right. So let's check that. Not doing that part. See if there's any confusion about being able to defer perk choices. We could write a note in the UI like you can make this later. I don't think there is. May eventually want a battle perk history that shows you which choices you made. It can just be a bunch of cards in a scrollable container. I'm not doing this either. No one's asking for this stuff. We're not adding extra features to the list. Need to think about rare customers. I think they still show up in challenge mode. Maybe it should be a perk or an event. Nah, no we don't. Not gonna do that. Think of whether we want auto purchasing for the treasure room. If we do, treasure spirit should turn it on by... What? Why did I say turn it on by default? I mean, this is done, but I don't know what I meant by that one sentence. But yeah, maybe make it available by default? Yeah. Delete any constraints that aren't used. Delete the negative twist. Polish. What is this? Problem. We show damage numbers in the tooltip without considering... Oh, I'm never fixing this. I don't care about this at all. Yeah. Fix damage numbers. How do we tab this in such that this makes sense? Put this here. Yeah. Okay. I should probably file this as an actual bug, huh? Let's stop this music. All right, copy as markdown, base 64 convert. Do this terrible thing about getting an image out of Google Docs. Sure love doing that. All right, so what is this? Damage numbers? Damage numbers show up, I guess, can be incorrect in battle perks. All right, we wanted to fix this. I didn't do this because I don't think it's worth the effort. Another problem is I don't ever update the tooltips if your adventures get more powerful. Yeah. I'm just going to create this and immediately close it. And now we can link this over here. What else? Impulse buying doesn't satisfy customer desires. Big problem, all the skeletons go to a single crop. When picking it, allow for left or right clicking to increase the difficulty level. If you have the on-cast perks, the spellbook should say, yeah, that's already done. It's nice when at least some of this stuff is already handled. Buildings tab should tell you which buildings you don't have. Yeah, sure. Spicy cooking doesn't show in its perks for the farm or pond because it's technically for the chef slime. I think that's fine. We're not going to do anything about this. Gold percentage should go above 100%. That way you can see numbers go up. No, we're not doing this. A graph with money over time at the end, like you see at the end of an RTS match, would be cool. I agree that this would be cool, and if I had infinite dev time, I'd probably do this, but I'm not I'm not going to keep extra features on this list for right now. Need to tell you that more customers enter the town every so often. Prioritize fixing the grinder drop zone. I think we did this. Although I can't recall if it's working well now. Let me try it. Visible collision shapes. It's probably overlapping again. Have a good rest of your stream and chat. Good luck with the to-do cleanse. Thank you, Vibe Up. I hope the meetings go well. It seems late on a Friday for them. All right, so we can do this anywhere. We can do it in here. So I build this. First of all, it builds it down there. That's kind of bad. And this is also... Actually, this works fine. Nice. Nice. Yeah, so the sign should move. I'll write that down. Yeah, this is done though. The sign for the weapon grinder doesn't, in story mode, doesn't match where it gets built. It's always meeting time, pushing new fancy features out before launch as a grind. Yeah. Well, good luck with the big launch. It was cool seeing the site the other day when you linked it in. We have managed to say more customers enter. Consider showing icons for town perks. We could reserve the upper left of the perk choice for there. I'll try that out at some point. Make farm drop zone bigger. I don't think we need to do this. Specializations that print on the end screen are just stringified enumerations and need proper display names. Didn't we do this? I think I did this. All difficulty data now has a proper display name, right? Yeah, nice. Okay, thank goodness. I am actually kind of glad I'm going through this right now, because a lot of these things have been done. So I'll just put an attention thing here so we can figure out where I left off. Reroll button should probably make a special sound. Oh, it does now, I think. Right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. I like the sound. Let me try it out. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's leave that open. UI should probably tell you how many of each adventurer, perk, or building you have. Yeah. Higher adventurer button on the town menu should say green while you have a deferred adventurer choice. Town perks already work this way. Yeah. Show the timer even when you've won. It should show the total time taken rather than a countdown still. I'm going to delete this. Yeah, I'm just going to delete this. Need hotkeys for all the... Yep, we still need that. When you build through the perk choices, it should create smoke. Yep, that's still true. Show an outline of the medal you're on track to win right in the town menu. Yeah, I think it'd be nice. I guess we need medal graphics at some point. Consolidate tabs for choosing stuff. So there's sub tabs, just like how perks used to work. Didn't I do this? Because they're all in here. Yeah, I think this is already done. I don't know what I meant if it's not already done. Rename all, since it's not showing all perks, just town perks. Maybe split into, it's just not split into categories based on the building. Yeah, that's still a good point. When you don't have any perks, perks all should probably say unlock perks by instructions. Yep, sounds good. Show the adventurer icon for each battle perk to make it even clearer which adventurer it's for. What, didn't I do this? Yeah, I think this has been done for a long time. Add sounds to buttons on the title screen when picking or clicking challenge mode options. Is that already done? Should be done. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, it's done. Another task completed. I remember that one being a little bit annoying to do, but it's nice that it's finished. Consider showing lots of other stats like items sold, items given to garbage slime. I'm not doing that. Yeah, again, we're not adding new features now. If like 400 people played the game and 150 of them said, yeah, I want this feature, I'd probably do it. But if it's just me saying, hey, people might want this thing, I'm not going to do it. Oh, yeah, we don't change the state of the exclamation mark when you finally do hire the cleric. I think we do fix that now. Let me take a look. So let me think. How do we do this? We click battle by perk. So the mushroom has an exclamation mark. We now hire them. Yeah, that's fixed. All right, what next? We should remember battle window positions. Yep, definitely. It may look better to list out individual levels. If we don't do that, then replace these with something more generic so there isn't a mismatch. What? I'm not know. I'm not doing this at all. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, well, next, you should probably be able to see the total number of meta perk points you have. I don't think so. I'm not gonna do that. It'd be nice to know when the next twist will happen. Show medals you've earned when selecting, add run history in general. Yeah, we got to do that. The tip that shows the beginning, which tells you your starting point, should probably have a 2-minute timer so it goes away on its own. Yeah, it's a nice little polish thing. When you only have the pond and it's full and you drag a potion to the extractor, it shows invalid destination. Okay, that's a very minor polish thing, but yes, technically that is true. Add hotkeys. I think I have this written down twice. Maybe indicate perk rarity with different background colors. Yeah, it's not really needed. If you haven't picked any meta perks and try to start a run, we should probably warn you because it means you respecialize without making any choices. Yeah, sure, we can still do that. Maybe make the new challenge mode dialogue into a tabbed container. Yeah, that'd probably be good. Power leveling up, that's fine. Should probably be able to hover over this. Yep. Probably have badges for each difficulty. What? We should probably have badges for each difficulty challenge just for player satisfaction. I think this is not a thing anymore. Consider changing specs to farmer, adventurer, industrialist, just for rather than continuous verbs. I think this is just for consistency. What do we have written here right now? Scenario 1, farming. Scenario 2, adventuring. And then, yeah, we eventually see something like garbage enjoyer there. Adventurer. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Yeah. Make winning screen, have more fanfare, maybe compose a small tune. Maybe show the defeated elite banner. I'm going to do that. Some perk descriptions need to be changed in challenge mode. No, I'm not going to do that. Battle perks show an exclamation mark when you don't have the adventurer. Perhaps the background should be red like when they're in battle. It's easier to spot and it's more consistent. I think that's a good one. Needs fireworks. Somewhat kidding. I do think fireworks or confetti is pretty nice in games. Plus, as far as game setting and theme goes, you can kind of have fireworks regardless of the setting, right? Like if it's sci-fi, even if it's medieval fantasy. I'm trying to think of when fireworks wouldn't be fitting. Maybe if it's in like prehistoric times. You're on a like Ark Survival Evolved. Probably can't have fireworks in that game. Then again, you probably have like flares or something, right? Yeah, for what it's worth, I'm probably not going to do something like that at this point. This is done. Can we add perk icons? Yeah, I know Codex requested these. I've already got it written down though. Remember which specialization and difficulty you selected last? I think we're doing that already. For runs where you lose, it should eventually tell you how much extra time it took to get. I don't want to do that. It's not even a thing anymore, I guess, because you can't lose. Polish this. We probably want progress bars for the objective and the time remaining. May even want the time to pulse when low. I don't think we're going to do that. Consider whether it's worthwhile to make a challenge mode specific map that puts everything. This is great. It's a great idea. I don't think we're going to spend the time doing this. Note D-date. I love this idea in general, but it's just too much work. And it makes the game look different. And if you're just coming from story mode, you probably want consistency. So that brings us down to these. Wow, this to-do list is looking so much more manageable. Turns out when you delete 80% of something, you can actually tackle it. As soon as you win or lose, we should save the results without waiting for you to click it. I think that's already done. Did we use duplicated instance data or did we just override? I'm going to just not even read that right now because I don't care. Prevent a perk reroll from giving exactly the same options. Yeah. Yeah, this is unfortunate. You've got something like 50 choices and we pick 3. And then if you reroll, we just pick 3 again. It's possible we pick the same 3 and sometimes even in exactly the same order. And if we can prevent that, we should prevent that. But it's, yeah, not super important. Specialization choosing UI should probably show perks the same way that we do everywhere else. In other words, we should probably show something like this. I'm not going to do that. Hide skill points in the adventure UI altogether. There's no way to earn or spend them. Is it showing? No. Yeah, no, it's not. It's already done. We ended up showing all the perks in the perks tab. Then we need to make sure that choosing one updates their tooltip since the levels would have changed. What? This has been done for a long time. Right? This should be incredibly easy to test. Let's pick this. Just anything that's going to show us level 2 eventually. So just keep clicking things until I see a 2 here. There we go. Stalking frenzy potency. So right now, it's showing 95%. I click this, and now it shows 145%. So yeah, that's working. What if in the settings, there's a button that says unlock challenge mode? Yeah, I still like that idea. All right, let's go move these things then. We have farther to bump them up the list. Because we're almost at the end. Consider exposing a challenge mode option that pauses the game while choosing. We're not doing this. It's definitely not happening. Consider not offering some battle perks if they wouldn't do anything. I don't know what this is about, so I'm just going to X this out. Make sure tooltips in the adventure panel make sense. We shouldn't have references to skill points, etc. Do we? Yeah, they're fine. Yeah, I think they're fine. Stop automatically putting you into challenge mode when you start the game as a dev. That's already done. Consider whether money caps in the regular game are even needed. Yeah, we can do that still. This abuses enumeration strings. Format perk. We should probably format or localize these. Yeah, we probably should. Let's move these. This really is seeming more manageable. Tooltips for town menu buttons probably need to change. Perk says buy perks to improve your town. You don't actually buy perks through it. Search for that. Change to regular mode. This needs to be changed to work with special keys again. We deleted this. I'm just going to delete this here. Change a bunch of numbers. Key tooltips will have to change to subtract differing amounts. Yeah. And then process feedback. Why is this? I've already processed feedback. I'm not doing this again. 0.2 under that. No. I think that needs to stay there so you can tell what the max will be. Okie dokie. Cool. Cool. So this whole section can just be deleted. Where did this end? Here it is. Okay, so what are we down to now? 14,866. But these are all actual real tasks now. But yeah, we got rid of 79% of the to-do list. Wasn't kidding when I said we got rid of 80%. This stuff seems spooky. What causes this to happen? Battle perk party member? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Probably got to fix that bug. I'm guessing all it takes to get that bug to repro is to just open up a screen here. Hey, Appleseed, thank you very much. So I just click buy, and I'm guessing just any battle perk will do it. Yeah. Buying a battle perk, not even choosing it, will show errors in the console. They're warnings, actually. Warnings in the console about what this. Yeah, we'll fix these things. So I guess this is going to go into here. So we actually did add a little bit more now. But yeah, we fixed about, or fixed, we closed about 80% of these things. And I do want to look through these now. And just see, is there anything in here that stands out? At some point I got to do the same thing with this list. All right, these are questions that we can probably only answer through playtesting. How much of this do you enjoy? How much do you want to keep playing? I thought the mode was pretty enjoyable. And I think it's been getting better and better. Is the end all best to do task app? Feels like you must have tried a bunch. No, it's not. I have a why Google Docs thing here, but I probably should have just been using Obsidian for this. There is one thing I don't like about Obsidian, which is when you paste in images, if you just, like, let's say there was an image here. If I just delete it, it's still on my file system. And a lot of times I want to, if there's no link to any image, I want it to be deleted from my file system too. And I end up putting a lot of like random little images in. Like I'll be playing the game and I'll say, oh, you know what, this is bad. Let's take a screenshot. And I do this and I paste it in here. And Google Docs, if you delete this, it's gone for good now. Actually, that might not be true. I don't know if it gets saved into the version history, because there's a version history thing in file here. Yeah, maybe it is saved forever. In fact, maybe that's even worse because you can't delete it. Anyway, I do enjoy this. Did the runs feel all that different from one another? The scenarios do. They start you out different enough. Earning new perks as you go through is pretty fun too. Do you need mid-run trade-off decisions? I think they'd help, but not a negative thing. How do you want the difficulty to go up? I think we're going to do this by just adding 10 more scenarios at the end that are hard modes of the existing ones. Buildings, the warehouse ever seem appealing to build first? If it's the warehouse versus the fishing pond, I might get the warehouse first. Yeah. Special code and building per choice generator. What is that? Also, I might as well sync those things. Warehouse just isn't desirable as a first choice. These aren't really usable without enough income. It's not even true of the treasure room anymore. I wonder if we should just delete this. So your first thing you build could be the treasure room? Yeah, I think we delete this. But yeah, the pond being the very first building you can get, I don't think that would be a good idea. This makes me wonder. Is there a bug? Let's put a breakpoint here, and then let's go into the save file. And let's set my upgrade points, I believe are called perk points, to 3,000. And now let's launch the game. I want to see what happens when you start with 3 buildings. Like, what does the game think you have as the number that you've chosen? I just click that 3 times. Now we hit start scenario. No, I go into this start scenario. All right, now we click build and it should break in. Is this 3? Yeah, it's 3. Okay, then we're fine. There's no bug there. But now without this, this is not a bug, but just does this still make sense? Should we cut out the warehouse as a first choice? You might have gotten auto fishing as your very first perk, in which case you might want the pond. Yeah, I wonder if we just delete this stuff now. I think I'm going to do that. Yeah. Let you get whatever. Remove special logic around building choices. In bone mode, we used to stop you from getting the warehouse, pond, or treasure room as your very first building. There have been enough changes now where I don't think that's necessary anymore. Abby? Abby? She's meowing. She's meowing out there. She was doing the funniest thing yesterday. I was just laying down on the bed and she came over and she basically like laid down with her face practically right up against mine. And she ended up rotating. So she just had her like hip in my face. Oh, what a good cat. Little fluff ball. All right, how does it feel to start with the enchanter? Is an interesting choice. I don't think any of the buildings are bad now as the first one. Does the treasure room feel too powerful? How's the fishing pond feel? How many perk decisions are you getting? How do you feel about... I don't think we need to... How do you feel about how you're spending money in sludge? I think the game's pretty simple, but I think it's okay. How do you feel how battle perks show up? I was torn on this when we were first making it. I think now I'm okay with it. I do think a lot of the time you end up just pumping up your main party, but like, that's fine. Every once in a while, especially if you've played for a while, maybe you care about looking at the specific numbers that you're seeing. But in general, it's okay if you don't. The choices feel meaningful. If not, what do you think would make them more meaningful? Yeah. There's a problem with the player not unlocking more buildings. This isn't even a thing anymore. What achievements would you like to? Oh my god, I forgot about achievements. You feel a sense of progress. Are any perks incompatible? Are all perks at least somewhat interesting? Should we have a sandbox mode? Anything be simplified? Yeah, I think this is all looking pretty good. All right, so here's our list. We got it down to 11 pages. It was, I think, 34 or 30 something. It was a lot before we started this. Probably should have kept track of that. And our final character count after I added some new things back in is 15,035. So it went up by a little bit. Now let's put this into the stream of consciousness and just save everything I ever do. Forever and always. Yeah, I'll twitch that. All right, Friday the 10th, we can sign off. Whew. Not sure if you play many games yourself, but if so, check out Blueprints. I think you might like it. I did play probably like 2 in-game days of that, and I didn't enjoy the game. I think there's like a 90% chance that I dislike any given game. I'm just not... I'm very picky about games. And for blueprints, I wasn't having fun. And then I asked a friend, like, does it change at all after 4 or 5 more in-game days or something? And they're like, not really. So yeah, I just don't think it's worth it for me to try a lot of different games. But okay, I think that's probably it for the stream. How long was I streaming for? Yeah, it was a pretty short day. I did what, 4 hours and 24 minutes. Fair enough. Just need Taylor towards your note-taking ability. Oh, so okay, so to be clear, because that is kind of interesting, right? To be clear, I don't want to play a game that resembles my work at all. So factory games are the worst. And anything like, if it activates my brain, it's probably a no-go. But yeah, I've played enough factory games. I've tried them and I've just been like, at some point, I think I'm doing a job. Like, how do people find this fun? Maybe I should give Factorio another shot. But I remember playing, I actually played on stream. I played for about 45 minutes and then I got to the point where you get electricity, I think, or you have to manage electricity. And I was just like, no, I don't want to do this. And I think that's the thing with a lot of city making games. They end up just kind of spewing mechanics. And it starts out and it's like easy enough. And then it gets to the point where it's like, oh, there's a lot you got to do. And actually, even in a game, I really like Terraria, but I really, really hate the inventory management, especially when it comes to chess. There are mods that apparently make this easier, but the base game, it's just like by the end of the game, you probably have 20 chests or something. And you need to know where you put stuff. If you're playing with other players, you need to know where they put stuff, or they need to be able to guide you to it. Give it after a while, but still enjoy the journey. When you say that game, do you mean Factorio or Blueprints? And yeah, I haven't tried Satisfactory. I tried Astroneer. I tried Factorio. I tried, what's that one where you're underground the whole time on a different planet? Was it Tectonica? Yeah, this game. I tried Tectonica. This is really, wow, this is quite mixed. Huh. Hi, cat. Wanna come up? Good cat, so. Yeah, come on over. Oh, you're very soft. Abby's a very, very, very clean cat and licks herself constantly. So she's usually very soft too. I feel the same way, like 90% of games I don't enjoy, or at least don't enjoy for more than an hour. Yeah, yeah. And I feel bad when it's a game I want to enjoy. Like I bought Donkey Kong Bonanza and I just haven't gone back to it. I bought Super Mario Wonder, I haven't really gone back to it. They're not bad games, I just wasn't hooked. And I guess that's really all I'm looking for at this point, is a game to kind of hook me. Anyway, let's go find someone to raid. Good cat, so. Oh, she started purring. Oh, she started purring loudly. Okay, I think we're gonna raid L:"Q. I think it's been a little bit of time. Man, showed me about 800 hours into it. I like when games can do that for people. They provide a nice little routine for you for some time. Okay, well, thank you all for being here. I'll be back on Monday. We're probably going to start tackling just this to-do list that we've been managing today. So have a good weekend. Let's all say hi to L:"Q. Hope you all take care. Goodbye.